When we bought our first home, it was like $80,000.
And what are they going for now?
$450.
In 2025, Nevada's promise of glittering opportunity has shattered. Home prices in once booming towns like Laughlin, Dayton, and Pahrump are plunging, down as much as 14.5%. Inventory is up 35%. Houses linger unsold for months while retirement dreams and hard-earned equity evaporate overnight. Nevada's market isn't just cooling, it's crashing, sometimes even harder than the 2008 collapse, with desperate sellers and panicked investors fueling a full-scale unraveling. Is your city on the list of the 10 hardest hit? What pushed Nevada from boom to the country's riskiest real estate bust? What happens next might upend everything you thought you knew about buying here. Number 10. Laughlin. On the southern fringe of Nevada, Laughlin once promised a quieter, more affordable escape, an oasis of riverside casinos and bargain homes. Fast forward to 2025, and the mood has soured. The median home price has slipped to $245,000, a 12.5% drop from its 2022 peak. Sellers are feeling the chill. Homes now linger on the market for over 80 days, up from just a few weeks during the boom. The city's lifeblood, tourism, has slowed, with casino foot traffic down and fewer visitors booking rooms or buying second homes. That steady stream of out-of-town buyers has dried up, replaced by cautious locals and a handful of investors looking to snap up bargains. Multiple offers are rare, and sellers often accept prices below their original ask. For many, the dream of quick equity has faded into a long wait and a stack of price reductions. Number 9. Dayton. Just east of Carson City, Dayton was pitched as Nevada's next big thing, a bedroom community with room to grow. But in 2025, the promise has faded. New subdivisions that once sparked bidding wars now sit unfinished, some with empty frames and others stalled by a lack of basic utilities. The city's infrastructure hasn't kept pace. Sewer capacity maxed out, halting all new building permits and freezing dozens of planned projects in their tracks. Median home prices have dropped roughly 9% from their highs, hovering near $424,000, and the appetite for new construction is gone. Homes that would have sold in days now wait more than a month for buyers, with many sellers forced to lower their expectations. The migration wave that once fueled Dayton's growth has slowed to a trickle, leaving behind a patchwork of half-built streets and for sale signs. The once glowing dream of small-town growth is now flickering, as both buyers and builders pull back. In both towns, the story is the same. Demand has vanished, and the market's fragility is on full display. Investor interest has cooled, leaving behind empty lots and anxious sellers. The unraveling here is quieter than in the big cities, but for those who bought at the top, the losses feel just as real. Number 8. Pahrump. Out past the edge of Las Vegas's sprawl, Pahrump once promised wide-open spaces and a shot at easy money for anyone willing to bet on the desert. During the pandemic, this rural town became a magnet for investors and dreamers alike, drawn in by cheap land and the hope of quick returns. Spec homes popped up overnight, and out-of-state buyers snapped up properties sight unseen, convinced that the next big boom was just beginning. But in 2025, the mood has turned sharply. The streets that once buzzed with construction now echo with the hum of silence. Clusters of for sale signs crowd new developments, and empty lots sit untouched, their promise fading under the relentless sun. The median home price in Pahrump stands at $400,000, holding steady compared to last year, but the number of homes sold has dropped by nearly 30%. Inventory is rising, and properties linger on the market for over 2 months. The speculative wave that lifted Pahrump has crashed hard. Investors who bought at the peak are quietly liquidating, offloading homes to avoid deeper losses. Some are walking away entirely, leaving behind half-finished projects and abandoned dreams. The town's population skews older, with many retirees now finding themselves trapped by homes they can't sell and rising costs they can't escape. Local incomes haven't kept pace with housing costs, and the pipeline of eager buyers has dried up. Foreclosure rates across Nevada remain among the highest in the nation. And while Pahrump hasn't seen the dramatic price drops of the big cities, the fear of being the last one holding the bag is real. The speculative frenzy that once defined this desert outpost has given way to anxiety and regret. For many, the sense of opportunity has curdled into a haunting question. What happens when the dream runs out of buyers? Number 7. Carson City. As Nevada's capital, Carson City has always carried a reputation for stability. A government town buffered by state jobs and a steady stream of public sector paychecks. But in 2025, even the state's political heart isn't immune to the housing market's unraveling. The median home price now sits at $567,000, down a substantial 15.4% from its highs. For many, the promise of job security hasn't translated into housing security. Inventory has climbed by 28% year over year, pushing available homes far beyond what local buyers can absorb. The average state worker in Carson City brings home about $60,000 per year, a figure that simply can't keep pace with mortgages that now consume more than half of monthly income for many buyers. Homes linger on the market, with sellers forced to accept offers well below their original listing price or risk waiting months for a sale. The bidding wars and appraisal gaps that lit up the market during the pandemic are gone, replaced by a growing stack of price reductions and anxious sellers watching equity disappear. State government jobs, once a shield against Nevada's notorious boom and bust cycles, now offer little protection from the affordability crunch. Even longtime public servants find themselves squeezed, as rising insurance premiums and property taxes eat into stagnant paychecks. The city's modest wage growth, just 1.3% annually, among the lowest in the nation, has left many residents priced out of the very neighborhoods they serve. For working families, the dream of stability in the capital feels increasingly out of reach. The disconnect between paychecks and property values is no longer a distant worry. It's a daily reality. In Carson City, the safety net of government employment can't cover the growing gap. And for many, the only option is to hold tight and hope the market finds its bottom. The unraveling here isn't driven by speculation or overbuilding, but by the simple math of incomes that can't keep up. As the state's capital city struggles with fundamentals, the warning signs for the rest of Nevada are impossible to ignore. Number 6. Fernley. Out in the high desert, Fernley was supposed to be Nevada's next logistics hub, a place where new warehouses and subdivisions would rise together, feeding off the promise of steady jobs and affordable living. Today, a walk through Fernley's newest neighborhoods reveals rows of empty driveways and locked front doors. The median home price has crept up to $392,200, but that number hides the strain beneath the surface. Inventory stands at 167 homes for sale, up 3% since last month, and 3-bedroom listings have jumped 7%. Local agents report that as many as 30% of new construction homes are sitting unsold, with developers offering deep discounts and incentives just to move inventory. The pipeline is clogged. Spec homes, model homes, and entire streets waiting for buyers who no longer materialize. Behind the numbers is a simple problem. The jobs never arrived fast enough. The logistics and industrial boom that was supposed to anchor Fernley's growth has lagged, leaving the town with more houses than workers. Monthly sales have slowed, and what once looked like a safe bet for quick turnover is now a waiting game. For every new family that moves in, there are 2 more homes still searching for an owner. Builders are carrying the costs, and some are quietly pulling back, shelving future phases until the market finds its balance. Number 5. Sparks. Just east of Reno, Sparks rode the coattails of its bigger neighbor's tech boom, drawing families with the promise of bigger lots and a little more breathing room. But in 2025, that suburban dream is under threat from a different force: insurance. Wildfire risk has driven premiums up across northern Nevada, and in Sparks, the pain is acute. Homeowners report annual insurance bills jumping by as much as 30%, sometimes doubling overnight. Some neighborhoods near the foothills have seen rates spike over 100%, forcing buyers to reconsider or even back out of deals at the last minute. The median home price in Sparks has dropped to $460,000, a sharp 16.4% fall from its pandemic high. But the real story is in the pace of the market. Homes that once sold in a matter of weeks now linger for an average of 53 days, up from just 26 days 2 years ago. Sellers are watching as their listings go stale, with price reductions piling up and buyers demanding concessions to offset soaring insurance costs. Inventory is rising, but so is the number of listings that quietly expire or are pulled from the market altogether. In July alone, more than 100 homes were withdrawn unsold, the highest monthly total in over a decade. For many in Sparks and Fernley, the unraveling isn't just about prices or days on market. It's about the ground shifting beneath their feet, costs spiraling, builders stuck with empty houses, and homeowners squeezed by bills they never planned for. The promise of easy equity and endless demand has faded, replaced by a new reality, a market where risk keeps growing and confidence is in short supply. Number 4. Henderson. Once the crown jewel of Nevada's suburban boom, Henderson drew in retirees and high earners with its gated golf communities, high-end shopping, and sprawling master-planned neighborhoods. But in 2025, the luxury market here has run aground. The median home price has now plummeted to $490,000, representing an alarming 18.3% drop from its peak. Sellers who once expected quick offers now watch their listings sit for an average of 115 days, almost 4 months, while price reductions stack up. The slowdown is sharpest at the top. High-end homes that used to spark bidding wars now linger, with open houses drawing more curious neighbors than serious buyers. Many retirees who bought at the height of the market are finding themselves trapped, unable to downsize or relocate without taking a major loss. For those on fixed incomes, rising insurance premiums and property taxes are eating into savings, turning what was supposed to be a comfortable retirement into a waiting game. The pain isn't limited to luxury. Henderson's mid-tier neighborhoods, once a magnet for professionals and families escaping California, are also feeling the squeeze. The influx of out-of-state buyers has slowed to a trickle, and the pool of local buyers simply can't keep up with prices inflated by years of speculative demand. The promise of easy equity has vanished, replaced by anxiety and a growing sense that the market has turned against anyone who bought in the last 3 years. Number 3. North Las Vegas. Just up the freeway, the story is even more stark. North Las Vegas, long considered the working-class backbone of the valley, is now ground zero for Nevada's affordability crisis. The median home price has fallen to about $380,000, a steep 17.4% drop from its peak. Inventory is up more than 40% year over year, flooding the market with options that few can afford. Homes that once sold in a weekend now sit for over 120 days, with some neighborhoods peppered with for-sale signs and vacant driveways. For many families, mortgage payments have become unsustainable, especially as wage growth in the area remains stubbornly low. The average household income here still hovers around $60,000, but monthly payments on a new mortgage can easily top $2,700. That math just doesn't work for most buyers. The result? A wave of anxious owners, many of whom bought with little down during the frenzy, now watching their equity evaporate. Investors who snapped up starter homes for rentals are quietly exiting, often at a loss, leaving behind a glut of empty properties. The city's working-class neighborhoods, once a symbol of attainable homeownership, are now at risk of slipping into decline, as rising costs and stagnant wages push more families to the brink. In both Henderson and North Las Vegas, the downturn cuts across the income spectrum. Retirees with nest eggs and working families living paycheck to paycheck are both feeling the ground shift beneath them. The glittering promise of Nevada's housing boom has given way to a sobering reality. When the market turns, no one is immune. The unraveling inside the Vegas Valley is now impossible to ignore, setting the stage for what's happening next in the state's largest cities. Number 2. Reno. Once hailed as the next Tahoe, Reno's tech-fueled boom felt unstoppable. Between Tesla, Google, and a flood of Bay Area transplants, home prices soared to record highs, peaking near $570,000 in 2022. But in 2025, that story has flipped. The median home price has now fallen sharply to $460,000, a punishing 19.4% drop from its peak. Inventory has surged by 45%, flooding the market with listings that outnumber serious buyers by a wide margin. Homes that once sparked bidding wars now linger for months, with the average days on market stretching to 97, triple what it was during the boom. Tech layoffs have hit hard, and the stream of remote workers has slowed to a trickle, leaving behind a glut of empty condos and for sale signs in neighborhoods that once buzzed with optimism. For many who bought at the top, the math is grim. Equity has vanished, and selling now means locking in a loss. Investors, too, are quietly offloading properties, hoping to cut their losses before prices slide further. The sense of momentum that once defined Reno has given way to caution and retreat. A city built on rapid growth, now caught in reverse. Number 1. Las Vegas. The epicenter of Nevada's housing collapse, Las Vegas is facing a downturn that rivals, and in some ways exceeds, the devastation of 2008. The median home price has cratered to $370,000, a staggering 22.9% drop from its pandemic peak. Inventory has doubled in just a year, with more than 8,200 homes now sitting unsold. Sellers who once dreamed of cashing out fast are facing the harsh reality of 140 days on market, by far the longest in the state. Price cuts are everywhere, with more than 40% of listings slashed by $50,000 or more. The investor exodus is in full swing, as both Wall Street firms and local flippers race to liquidate before values fall further. For working families, the affordability crisis is crushing. Monthly payments on a new mortgage now eat up over 42% of the average household income, up from just 29% 3 years ago. Retirees who flocked here for low taxes and sun find themselves trapped by falling values and rising insurance bills. The city's lifeblood, tourism, remains shaky, with visitor numbers still below pre-pandemic highs and service sector jobs offering little wage growth. The mood on the ground is tense. Open houses draw more lookers than buyers, and the easy optimism of the boom years has been replaced by anxiety and regret. For many, the comparison to 2008 isn't just a warning, it's a reality repeating in real time, with no clear bottom in sight. Across both cities, the unraveling is everywhere. Tech workers forced to relocate or downsize, investors dumping homes at a loss, retirees watching their nest eggs shrink, and families squeezed by costs they can no longer afford. The promise of Nevada's housing market, fast equity, endless demand, and a safe haven for investment has collapsed under the weight of overbuilding, vanishing buyers, and a perfect storm of economic pressures. The fallout is rippling beyond city limits, shaking confidence across the state and raising urgent questions about what comes next for anyone who owns, or hopes to own, a home in Nevada. Las Vegas home prices fell 22.9% from their recent peak, with properties sitting on the market for an average of 140 days. Numbers not seen since the 2008 crisis. Across Nevada's 10 hardest-hit cities, every community faced double-digit declines, with inventory rising as much as 45% in places like Reno and North Las Vegas. State records and MLS data confirm that overbuilding, investor sell-offs, and unaffordable insurance premiums combined to erode stability in markets from Laughlin to Fernley. Yet the full impact on homeowners, retirees, and local economies is still unfolding. Foreclosure and migration data for 2025 remain incomplete. What is clear, Nevada's downturn is not an isolated event, but a warning sign for overheated markets nationwide. As documented, knowing where not to buy can be as vital as spotting the next boom. The facts show that vigilance, not speculation, remains the best defense.